Good evening and welcome to the February 13th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to those that are here with us tonight or have tuned in via TV. We have no public hearing tonight. Any announcements from the board?
I'd just like to express on behalf of the board the condolences to the Orchid family and McCoy family who recently passed away. Had the unfortunate passed or whatever, attending both funerals this weekend. Sad when we lose anyone, but neighbors a long time. Was an employee of the town, 26 years in the fire service, and Pam had been around here forever.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Probably after the executive session, we will need to come back and at least have a vote, right, on establishing either affirmative or negative to establish a special election.
Yep.
For that article.
We could make that 17B, or we can make it part of 17A.
I question whether we really need to go into executive session on that. It's all public information. I mean, to what we're doing, I mean, there's nothing there.
Yeah, the negotiations, I think, have happened, right? I mean, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
I questioned that when I read that last night. So
I don't have a problem not being in it.
I
It's up to you folks.
So
think the public.
With that, how about I entertain a motion to bring this up under old business, because it is old business, right? As item B. I can get a motion to do that.
So moved, Dennis.
I'll second it.
So been moved and seconded to bring the executive session that will not be held in executive session for discussion, possible vote regarding Malone property purchase and sales agreement, presentation material for the public to old business, and we'll do that in public session. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, we'll bring that up. Okay. Anything else?
Gotta get you a story.
Anything else on the agenda? Needs to move. All right. We have no appointments. Public comment. Anybody that would like to comment that's not on the agenda? Correspondence, treasurer's report, motor vehicle and excise tax reports are here, ecomaine recycling reports, and Waterboro Lions Club communications. So if anybody's interested in any of that, please contact Sherry, or you can get them from the packet on the website. Reports, staff initiatives, selectmen's reports. Gordon, anything? Tim?
Nothing for me, thanks.
And Dwayne?
No.
Okay. And I have nothing, so let's go right over to Gary.
Wow. Whoa. All right, I've got a whole page full. I'll be brief as I can be. First of all, I guess a little bit more detail on the thank you we got from the Massachusetts Lions Club. It was a thank you for Lisa Bennett going down there and talking about various life-saving techniques that members could use should the need arise. They were very appreciative of her presentation. And I would echo Gordon's comments initially. Sad news to report the passing of Nathan McCoy, Pam Orcutt. Nathan's service was yesterday at Lakeside Church. Reception followed at Central Station. Both were very well attended, and I think would help the family in their grieving over the next a few weeks. I'm very proud of this fire department and what they do to pull together when they go through a tough time like this. The chief spoke very eloquently twice. Lisa had a difficult time because this was her cousin, Nate was, but she also did a wonderful job, and so did Frank Berkmos, and the whole service was very well done. In terms of a budget update, Budget Committee meeting number 8 is this Thursday afternoon at 4:30, and so far they've done 14 out of 25 total budget sections, and I'm not going to read all those to you right now, but you can just know that they're well over halfway there. The goal is to finish the rest of those 25 sections this Thursday. It's a possibility, but we've got the February 22nd meeting as a backup for a final cleanup. And since Public Works, Fire Station, and Recreation will get their final recommendation from the Budget Committee, those department heads will be here in this room February 15th for that Budget Committee meeting. Our TIF district, our Tax Increment Finance District application is complete, and we were only 2 members of the EDC at the last meeting, so there was no formal vote, but those members clearly thought that the application should go forward to Selectmen. I'll actually give the Selectmen a copy of that to take home tonight, and we'll put it on the agenda 2 weeks from tonight for our first discussion. Chuck Morgan will be here, and then that evening, the 27th, you can choose a public hearing if you want to, a public hearing date in March, and we can move that whole process forward. It's about a $20 million valuation TIF district, stretched from Jellison Road on 202 over to the power lines by the diner on Route 5, and also captures Plumber's Hardware piece and the piece right next to it where the new small commercial mall is going in South Waterboro. And we'll actually open that up, and I'll show the Selectmen the map toward the end of the meeting here. Old Alfred Road, finally we started patching today, paving maybe in the future. One pothole that consumed a whole load of hot top from the truck, and obviously they didn't get too far. We're going to keep at it since this is a good weather week and make a biggest dent we can in the condition of that road. Some good news, an update on the library boiler, which when it died was all 14 months old and cost us $6,800 to replace a boiler that's a little over a year old. I'm pleased to say that we got $5,800 out of our insurance company. We had a $1,000 deductible there. We've received that check, which is good, and they are pursuing some warranty investigations to see if they can get some more money out of Peerless because there may be some type of a warranty defect. So, and that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments?
A comment on that is just for those that are traveling the Old Alfred Road, you want to exercise extra caution because the work crews are out there. There are also state work crews that are out on Route 5 doing some patching as well. So both routes, just exercise some caution there because there will be men out in the middle of the road. Leave a little early because the trucks, sometimes the traffic gets a little congested in there, especially they were working right around the elementary school this morning, so you can well imagine the traffic tie up there with all the school buses and DOT trucks.
When you see a work sign, slow down, don't speed up.
Right. Yeah, we're going to have a
Simple as
longer
that.
discussion, I think, at some point about Old Alfred Road. Gary and I talked a little bit this afternoon about one thing for them to maybe help with the repaving of it. It's another thing for the real, if this was a car, we'd say that there's a Maine lemon law, right? So we got a lemon of a road, and they put a little lipstick on the pig, so to speak, when they turned it over to us, but very obvious that it's not holding up and won't hold up given its current condition unless something other than just putting another shim coat down. So we need to have further discussion on that. So
There's been numerous complaints that certainly have not fallen on deaf ears. We're aware of it.
well, I think it's reached a point where maybe we get the commissioner or whomever and have an audience because it's very obvious. And I understand the DOT's point is you know, they're dumping roads as fast as they can dump them, but there's one thing, to dump a road that really, I mean, they claim it was part of the urban compact deal, but it's very obvious that we'd rather have Route 5 and 202. Let them have the old Alfred Road. But anyway, so we'll have some further discussion on that. All right, item 9, new business, initial discussions with the Community Center Steering Committee and its task ahead.
6 out of 9.
And I think
I
we're...
emailed Rosemary and her back from her.
So, Gary kind of has put together an initial mission statement and whatnot. So, do you want to go over that, Gary?
Sure. There's more on the table if no one has one in front of them. I created this just off the tip of my tongue. Really haven't thought about this for years like a lot of other people. Thinking that it should consider everything small and large in terms of structures, in terms of land, in terms of decades down the road and what we want to plan for. So in my mind, it's really all encompassing of what this committee can do. I don't hold this document as a final document. I think it's up to the Board of Selectmen and the Community Center Steering Committee to finalize this and add to it, detract to it from however you see fit. But for discussion starters, I threw out some town-owned properties. That would be the Lions Club property. Where we are right now, this end of Town Hall, out by the parking lot here, or the old section of Town Hall. Obviously, we're not moving the cemetery. I can tell people that. I think every idea should be listened to from the business community, citizens. I've told some people that, excuse me, Chris Burnett had a business plan to build an athletic facility in another community as a business idea of his own. And when I called him up to tell him about the steering committee coming into existence, he told me what he was doing there, and he could be approached as possibly presenting his business plan as an idea, just one idea. Not that you would endorse it or pursue it, but it's certainly something that he's done a lot of work with for an athletic facility. I think it was more basketball related than soccer, kind of like a Howard Sports property. And the idea out there about turning the fire station into something else, I think we should probably look at that. But obviously, if you're going to do that, you have to build a new fire station, which is $3 to $5 million potentially. And the last one is buying raw land and building something from scratch. So again, I did this as a discussion starter, and you folks can take it from there. And
Well, I think more
See what
importantly, I
happens.
guess it really is okay, what is the task of this committee? And I think that it's at least captured here, and it really is, you know, to start the discussion, right? I mean, let's face it, I mean, in the past, we had a very, very active library building committee. That went to the polls a number of years ago with a new site, new facility and whatnot. And unfortunately went down with a vote, and that committee chose either not to bring it back or whatever the case may be, but it's never been brought back. Then the question comes is, you know, is it the library? Is it an expansion to the library? Is it a recreation facility? I mean, that ultimately I think this committee has to start to put some framework on. What would a community center in the town of Waterboro look like? And I really think that you start with a plain piece of paper and say, okay, and I really think you have to get some citizen input, and that's why I think it's important that we have certainly folks and the librarian on, and certainly the director of recreation on to add that. We've got members from the Board of Selectmen, so it's a pretty good cross-section of folks that we have on this committee, and I think you have to start with that. It's a blank piece of paper. What should, could,
I guess that blank piece of paper starts with a 5x7 and goes to a 9 by 11 and it might end up to a
Right.
18 by 36, but what are you gonna put on this piece of land? And then it's gonna eliminate some of these pieces of land because some of them aren't big enough to justify what you're thinking. So it's a matter of the committee coming up with what do we need, what do we want, and what can we afford, and how big a piece of paper you need.
Yeah, and I think we can certainly, from a board or from Gary's perspective, help with the, you know, the costs associated with and what that does, so what kind of impact that has on the community and tax rates and all that kind of stuff. But that's way down the road here. I think more importantly, it really is, hey, what is it? What could it, would it, should it all look like? And I think you start with throwing everything up on the wall and then start to peel some pieces off, and ultimately what you get done with is, you know, the stuff that we start to put the framework around and look at size of lots and those kind of things and go from there. And it may very well be that we're not going to do anything. You know, maybe the community's not ready for it, but you know, there are a lot of communities that have community centers. A lot of them are abandoned schools or converted schools. You know, as new buildings get built out and whatnot, you know, there's opportunity. I mean, if you really look at it, the current library is exactly that. It was abandoned by RSU 57 years ago. You know, we took ownership of it back, if you will. The Lions building is the same way. You know, the Lions really, you know, to their credit, have put all the work and resources into that facility over the years, but that was another abandoned school from RSU 57. So there's a lot of, you know, well, what could I, should I, I'd like to see, or we'd like to see, and there's probably as many people on the other side of what do we need that for? So you're going to have to, it's just going to be kind of a delicate balance here of, you know, what is it that, and I think really the task of the committee is to kind of start to pull all that stuff together. So, questions or comments or expectations? Or?
I guess I would say meeting nights, you could do alternate Wednesdays in this room. Planning board meets first and third. You don't usually have workshops on this, so you've got second and fourth Wednesday nights in this room. Less dependably, you could have first and third Tuesday nights in here. And once through the budget season, you can have Thursday nights every week. Actually, the budget committee's meeting at 4:30, so you could start with Thursday nights if that appeals to the group. So there's lots of opportunity in this room for you folks to meet. I'll volunteer to be there on the first one and be the scribe, and put big post-it notes up and have an idea session, you know, visioning session, if you will. But I think this should come from you folks in your hearts and minds and not just me.
I don't know how you guys feel, but Wednesdays are a lot better for me because I normally work until 8 on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Wednesdays I can't do. My son is in soccer in Portland all from now until April.
Well,
I wish it wasn't the one day I could do.
When you have that first
Yeah, we'll
meeting,
figure it out.
you'll throw all those
Yeah.
things out there, and you need to get the rest of, we're missing 3 people also, so need to pick a night, and I can help do that. Sherry and I will help with the liaison here and paperwork and being the bird dog for rooting things out. And
Well, I might be the only one in this room, but I only know 3 people, so introductions might help a little bit.
Is the guy in the treasurer?
Okay.
So that's left, but,
I know you, April.
I'm Tammy Wells, I work for the Journal Tribune.
Okay.
you know Julie. And then Tim Neal and Gordon Littlefield are the 2 selectmen on the committee.
Is there a group email for them yet, or for us?
Not yet, I sent that one out with individual email addresses, but
I'm on the trustees for the library.
So So we can coordinate that, right? Pull that together, so there's a distribution list or group email.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
So missing is Craig Richardson, Rosemary Whitaker, and Tanya Thayer.
Craig Richardson, I thought was gonna be gone for a few weeks
I don't
on
know.
vacation.
All right,
I know Rosemary had told me at our last meeting that she was going to be here, but maybe she got caught with some other thing.
so you folks are, I'll say on your own. But Gary's offered, you know, he'll coordinate it and do whatever's gotta be done, and he can scribe the first meeting and
But why don't I take the lead and send another note out to everybody saying, pick a date, pick the days of the week that you would like to meet and get them back to me, and I'll pull that together and get it out to you.
Does the meeting have to be in here, is it like televised or?
you can have it anywhere.
Next door and go at the library.
You can have it any way you want. But my suggestion is that if you don't record meetings, at least make sure that somebody takes fairly good minutes. You don't have to be super detailed, but there should be some record keeping of what was discussed and what the decisions were made and those kind of things.
I was just thinking if this was busy, we could have it next door and more people would free that.
I think you can have, you know, the convenience of this room is, it gives you the option if you just want to, you don't have to publicize any meetings, but if you record them for, instead of having somebody scribble minutes, okay, you can always record them and that there. So.
Needs to be in a public place. I mean, you may have subcommittees, or the whole group may take a field trip and go look at 2 or 3 places and take a whole day to do that. Probably going to end up wanting to do that, and that's fine.
But the meetings has to, or as Gary said, has to be in a, they'll be posted and it'll be in a public, has to be in a public.
And open to the public.
Yeah.
The benefit of this room is the availability of the audio-visual enhancements. If we want to post, you know, put something up there like photographs or diagrams or, you know, conceptual schematics or whatever, we can do that without having to, you know, move from room to room to do it.
Okay? Thank you for coming. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but I'm sure you would love to talk about the Maine Unified Building Code. All right, let's move on to new business. Item B, discussion regarding code enforcement and planning board fee schedule and update on new state building code.
Good evening, Board.
How are we doing?
Good. January 23rd of this year, Maine adopted the new building code to add to MUBEC, which is now 2015 residential code, the 2015 commercial code. The 2009 energy code will remain the 2009 energy code. That won't change. Waterboro started enforcing these codes February 1st. In your packet, I made a copy of the state law that requires Waterboro to enforce these codes because of its population. That population line is at 4,000. Anything above 4,000, we enforce it. Anything less than 4,000, it's the town's choice. So, bottom line, Waterboro doesn't have any choice. Like most towns south of Augusta, we're mandated to enforce these codes. The state did give us 90 days from January 23rd to enforce them, but I knew this was coming. I've been ready. I had the new code, so we started enforcing it February 1st. I will have a workshop probably in April for contractors that are interested in knowing what the new codes are. The manuals are as thick as they always were, so I'll be talking about codes that I always see go wrong. I'm hoping to get 25 or 30 contractors in here to make it a worthwhile program. There's this book is the changes for the residential code. There's 33 pages in here of changes. And I just got comfortable with the 2009 codes. So I'm learning these all over again, along with everybody else. The books are like $300 for the 2 manuals, so they're not cheap. And that's why contractors don't have them typically. Any questions on the new codes?
Is that stuff available online?
It will, and I will have a link on my website as soon as ICC gives me that link. So people can review it. They can't print it without buying it, but at least you can review
The
it.
contractors can look at it, will be able to look at it.
Right, you can pull it up on your tablet on the job site, which I will do eventually. And there's no drastic changes. You know, most of them are pretty much the same. They've cleaned it up and changed some of the things, so it's not drastic.
Have we got it in our budget right now to purchase copies of those manuals so that they'd be available here for review?
No, I bought the new books last year through my budget, but I didn't put any money to have an extra set available. I mean, they come to the office and read my set, I suppose. But no, to answer your question, I don't have the budget to buy an additional set.
Well, let's go back.
Yep.
You know, we always used to have to buy the main revised statutes, annotated books, right?
Yep.
That is all online now. Nobody buys the books. In fact, I'm not even sure if we have a set of books anymore, but,
I have a set, but
you know.
they're not current.
Right, they're not. So everything is online. Why wouldn't these be online?
Well, they are aligned. You can't print them. You can only view them online. So say if
So if I'm working on a section, I can't print that section.
correct.
Isn't that handy?
Whose bright idea was that?
Proprietary information.
Yeah, that's
How's it proprietary information?
it's
Done by a private company, isn't it?
it's done by a private company. It's ICC, International Code Conference. You know, it costs some money to. I can't answer that question. All I know is that you can't print it without buying a copy.
Well, okay, so maybe you have to subscribe. You have to have a copy. I don't understand why you would ever buy a copy. Right? I mean,
Oh.
other than maybe having one as a base, right?
Yeah.
But why would this company force somebody to buy a set of books so that they would have access online?
I don't have an answer.
So there's a wonderful opportunity for somebody to submit a bill.
Yeah.
And I
You
got
buy the
some-
DVD? Can you just buy them digitally?
I'm not sure, Gary, if they're available on DVD or not.
So who owns stock in this company?
Yeah, really. You know, I like having the book because I can't look at a set of plans and have a laptop to my right and have a note to the left. I like the pages in front of me.
I understand that, and it would probably make sense for you to
Yeah.
have, but I'm talking about,
A builder or,
you know,
or anybody.
I want to meet the code and those things. I should be able to, especially somebody that is building, you know, a home themselves, so to speak, right? They might be general contracting or whatever. I mean, it would be nice to say I can go through these and whatnot without running back and forth
Yeah.
between people.
And that's the case with any code that the state made. You know, the energy code's the same way, ventilation code's the same way, NFPA is the same way. You can't print it. You have to buy it. You can view it, but you can't print it.
So this is an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
For our senator and representative.
And the stuff's expensive.
It seems as though, yeah, I agree with Dennis, that the state should take some ownership in this because they're, in essence, by adopting this, are forcing it on all the contractors in the state. So in order for them to comply with it, I would think that there should be some mechanism that the state would have. I know that I'm probably preaching to the choir, but
Yeah.
You know, there should be something there.
Yep, you're
It's
right.
like- It's like, well, we've got this, but we're gonna keep it secret.
Yep.
I mean,
But this is not new.
Your county
No, it's
register,
not
no, but your county registry of deeds, you can go online and you can print off from that website. You can
With an
at
account.
least do you have to have an account,
Right.
right?
You get so many,
You
up to
do.
a certain number.
Yeah, you
But,
do.
but unless,
Yeah.
and I would guess if I'm a realtor, that I'm gonna pay the subscription fee, right? So I have unlimited usage. But Joe Blow, who might print one or two things in
50
a year, right? You can go online and do that. So, I mean, it just blows my mind that we, and, you know, kind of everybody just sits around and says, well, that's the way that it is, right? Well, maybe they ought to, instead of revising it, maybe some smart legislator ought to say, hey, you know, we could do something for the industry by providing access to it, right?
Yep.
So pay a minimum subscription. I don't think anybody would. have a
Well,
problem with that.
NFPA is a perfect example. You can subscribe to that, but you still pay for the books. A yearly subscription, I think it's $175, and they give me 10% off on the books. So, you know,
You used to have to buy the Thomas Register too, which was volumes, and that's
Yeah.
all online. Pay a subscription.
yeah. I don't have an answer for you, Dennis, but it's frustrating.
So if we had, if I read this right, if we had adopted our own building code between the dates of August 2008 and July 1st, 2012, we could possibly be exempt from this?
No.
I know we didn't, but
Right.
the first thing says, unless you've adopted something between that period of time, you have to comply.
Yeah, what that means is if you didn't have a building code in that time frame, then it would allow you to adopt, I don't even remember now. But we will never be exempt.
Okay.
I can imagine the public outcry if we took our building code here and all our codes and said, okay, we're gonna make them secret. You gotta subscribe to them or you gotta pay for
Well,
them.
they're not secret, you just can't print them.
Yeah, you just can't print them. You know,
We're charged to look at it.
the public outcry would be.
Remember, if it's a private business doing it, though, it's not just the
That's
state of
right.
Maine.
It's not the state of Maine. So we're safe for another 6 years.
So,
But did you want to go over the fees that
yeah,
you did here?
part of this was the fees, right?
Yes. You also should have a spreadsheet of what I proposed. And I realize you guys probably haven't had a chance to look at this. And I don't know if you want me to go line by line or
Well, the first thing I'm gonna ask you is, has the planning board at least get a
Yep.
pass at this? Have they looked at it?
The planning board has not looked at this.
But I think they mandated that you separate the fees out.
Right. It was their idea to pull those fees out of the ordinance, and so that's what all this is about. So when you guys,
So when we accept the fee schedule, which is now outside of the,
well, it's not yet,
okay, it will be once we.
it will be. So this needs to be in place at the time you adopt the new ordinance.
So on the site plan, you've got two hefty increases there.
Yep, see, I was trying to shrink the fee table a little bit, I guess. In the black text is what is in the fee schedule right now. In the red text is what I suggest. So the $600 fee would cover anything 10,000 square feet or less. And then anything 10,000 square feet or above is $2,000.
So there would be no application fee for anything under 10,000 square feet?
Correct.
Today, we charge $300.
Right. Plus these fees
No, the way this reads from 0 to 10,000, it's $600.
So what's the application fee?
The application fee.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
So there's
application
no
fee stays.
application fee, they're just gonna pay the plus.
No, the application fee is not gonna change. The application fee is $300.
Okay, I'm sorry, I read your thing. I thought it said no charge.
No change on the
It says no
application fee.
change, I'm
Right.
sorry.
So that stays the same.
Okay,
So after they pay the application fee, now the fee is based on the square footage of the development. That changes.
Okay.
And for no other reason other than to try to eliminate some numbers and some lines.
Okay.
And I want to eliminate the additional charge. So when they have a development over 19,000 square feet, they get charged $50 for every 1,000 feet over that. I want to eliminate that fee.
okay.
So the most anybody would ever have to pay is $2,000 plus the application fee.
So 2,300.
Right. And of course, mailings and advertising, they're going to pay that anyway.
Okay,
The planning board, placement on the agenda went up. Planning board doesn't do setback hearings or variances anymore. So that will actually be eliminated. Height modifications will be eliminated.
What do you mean by eliminated?
There
As far as-
won't be a fee for it.
It won't be a fee, but
Right.
if somebody needs to go over 35 feet, they'll come in and
They'll still go to the
apply.
planning board, but there's no fee.
Just pay for the
Okay.
appointment.
Right,
so they pay for the.
yeah.
Okay.
I think, and what I keep in mind, Gary, I think, hit the nail on the head a while ago. He says that there seems to be fees for everything. So my goal was try to eliminate some of this and make it more fair. I don't think the town is in the business of making a profit on this stuff. We're just in the business of hoping to cover the expenses. And I guess that was the goal here.
So just simple placement on the agenda, though. Why do you think we still need to have a fee for that
Well,
and not 0? Citizens pay for all this.
yeah, they do. And I guess, good question. I don't have a problem at all making that 0.
I mean, remember we talked about, we used to have on the planning board agenda appointments. And somebody would come in and inadvertently, when the planning board was a little greener, they'd almost want to give an approval for somebody that just came in to have an appointment and talk about an idea.
Yeah.
And boom, it almost got it approved.
Yeah.
And we wanted to try and get away from
Yeah.
that.
I think you should be able to go to the planning board and
I
ask for
can
an
say,
opinion without being charged for it.
and I
Once you have an application, that's another story,
It is.
right? You're
It
gonna
is.
pay the fee for the application,
Right.
but just to come in and say, hey, and have the discussion,
Just an advisory meeting.
Exactly.
We've got to make sure we couch that so that surveyors and engineers and everything don't come in loaded for bear for their free appointment
Right.
and turn it into an application presentation. It's not what it is.
well, we got,
So I'll put a question mark on that anyway. Let's see.
yeah, I don't think you need to go through all of it. I think the
Okay.
intent of what you're trying to do here makes some sense.
Yep.
And,
I think another thing, if you do that, that you make it clear that that is not the beginning of an application. That that's just an advisory meeting.
No strings attached. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, we might need some ordinance.
That doesn't mean
language.
that you have started an application.
Right.
yeah,
Let's jump.
having, securing a place on the agenda does not guarantee the start of.
That's the beginning of
Start of an
something.
application.
But
Start of an application.
at that point, we'll say somebody's got a cupola that they're gonna put on the top of the barn, and it's over 35 feet.
Mhm.
We use my barn.
Yep.
It's 33 feet without a cupola.
Yep.
So if I wanted to put a 8 or a 10-foot high cupola on the top of that roof, and I came in on the agenda, and everybody was in agreement, then I could pay the application fee that night and get the approval? Or am I just wasting my time? I'd be better off to pay the application fee and come in and say, this is what I want to
Well,
do.
using that example, you wouldn't come to the planning board because the building codes, which we have adopted, allows an appendage like that without going to the planning board.
Church would
Church-
be another example.
Church steeple would be a
Yeah,
better example.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So if we
Yeah,
move,
they'd be better off to just come in and make
with
the
an
application.
application and
right?
have,
Yeah.
you know,
we move down to code enforcement. Currently, we don't charge a fee, or our ordinance says no fees, is assessed for project $1,000 or less. This is in conflict with the state building code, so we need to eliminate that.
Eliminate something that's already zero? I
Um,
guess I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, there will be a fee,
Right.
so there's no fee now, but the building codes, we have to charge a fee, basically is what I'm trying to
Oh,
say.
so then in the line below, it would be $50.
Correct.
Okay,
So the minimum fee goes from $25 to $50.
okay.
Residential construction goes from $4 per thousand to $5 per thousand. Right now, probably spend between $90 and $100 on every single house that I inspect.
Time?
That's about 3 hours, between 3 and 4 hours, depending on how big the house is. Commercial development would go from $6 per thousand to $7 per thousand. Temporary use stays the same. Seasonal conversion, that's the state plumbing code, so we can't change that. Reinspection fee, which I do a lot right now, would go from $25 to $60. Reinspection fees, a case where they're not ready when I get there, they've called for an inspection, we schedule an inspection, but they're not ready, or they failed the inspection, and I have to go back. I feel that the taxpayer shouldn't pay me to do that. I think it's the contractor's responsibility to pay me to do that, if they fail or if they're not ready. And I do that a lot, more than you would think. Certificate of occupancy, I'm inclined to eliminate that and just incorporate it with a new fee structure. So that's eliminating another one of those fees. The plumbing code, septic system prices are all state mandated, but the state does allow municipality to increase those prices. We have a perfect example. The campground has 3 huge septic systems, and
New ones.
brand new ones. They're huge, and I will probably, a septic system I'm usually at 3 or 4 times. These systems I'll be there probably 6 or 7 times. So I've added $100 to each one of those systems, and I don't have the criteria to what am I trying to say?
Yeah, you did. You can blame it on me because I thought it was a good idea when you.
Well, you did, but I noticed I didn't blame it on you. I did talk to Gary about it because I didn't want to do that without getting some kind of authority. I just think
It seems fair.
that the town should recoup some of the expenses it's going to take me to inspect these giant fields. So I attached $100 on top of his $250 for each system.
That makes some sense.
Well, yeah. Unique structure, there's a $50 fee. I propose to eliminate that. The driveway fee currently is $25. I propose to bump that to $50. $25 doesn't hardly cover my time or Dave's time into administrating, not to mention Tammy's time. $50 won't do it, but it's there. Growth permit, you gentlemen have talked about eliminating that. I propose to eliminate it, or better yet, to suspend it.
I think the word that Natalie has suggested is suspend,
Suspend it, that's why that's in there.
because you'll never get it back if you
Yep.
eliminate it.
Don't get rid of the permits.
So if you want to keep the growth permit, then maybe we keep the residential permit fee the way it is. I'm thinking it's one or the other. If we eliminate the growth permit, then we bump up the fee for residential and commercial construction.
And you take it beyond the $5 per thousand to something higher? Or?
No, it would stay at $5,000. It would stay at $5 per thousand based on the fact that we suspend the growth permit.
Okay,
When,
well, there's some, go ahead.
is there a way that we could tighten up this, it seems like the $100, and I agree that the taxpayer shouldn't be burdened with that. It should be the contractor or the developer or whatever. But it seems kind of arbitrary for you, the CEO, to say, well, I'm gonna add $100 on it.
It is.
You know, there should be something within this fee structure thing that outlines your ability to do that.
Yep, I agree.
Because I think it leaves the door wide open for when Glenn is no longer the CEO, and another one comes in here and he says, well, I'm gonna add $200 onto it, or $350.
Yeah, I agree.
I just see that it's there for, you know, open for.
There's a state law that governs that. And you can charge whatever for your fee, but you cannot charge to make money. So that fee covers the cost of the inspections, the cost of the secretary, same thing with the planning board.
Yeah.
The fee covers, we pay the planning board members
So
$25 an evening.
I just don't
What
think
you're
it should be
getting
so
to,
arbitrary.
if there was a formula,
Right, and that's the word I was trying to think of
Right.
earlier, a formula.
it said, okay, you know, if I'm gonna spend X more time inspecting this septic system
Yeah.
versus, or waste disposal system versus another one, you know, there's an increment,
Correct.
okay?
Yep.
It just goes up, and then you take the arbitrariness out of it,
Yeah.
it just
Yep.
then becomes a
And then it's there in black and white, so they know that,
Yep.
okay.
I understand that completely.
And
Plus,
that way, that fulfills the obligation to, so if somebody challenged it from a state law regulation that says, if you're making money on me, then you could say, no, this is the
This is
fee
what-
schedule.
But
And
you have to, you can't take one applicant, you have to take the last 10, or
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
the
it,
next, you average them to
Average 'em.
get that
Yep.
cost, because
No, I get where you're coming from, Gordon, and I just didn't have time to figure on that formula, but I will.
Plus, I think any increase would have to be approved by the selectmen, correct?
It would.
That's what this is all
That's
about,
what this
so
is
there's
all about.
checks and balances in place. He can't just raise the fees.
No. Let's see, subdivisions.
Next page now?
Yep, page 2. Subdivisions, there is no change in the basic $250 per lot. What I would like to eliminate is, our ordinance allows 75 cents per lineal feet of road as an extra charge, plus 50 cents per lineal feet of pipe. The ordinance doesn't say if it's a culvert, if it's a water pipe, or if it's a sewer pipe. So I'm proposing to eliminate that line and just stick with $250 per lot for subdivisions.
that's why that was put in there,
Why?
so that it would take care of any pipe. That was put in, probably 10 or 15 years ago, when we had major growth, and that took care of the underground cable, that took care
So
of
conduit?
town water,
Yeah.
anything that was down there that had to be inspected, that covered the inspection cost.
Okay,
Whether we need it or not, I ain't gonna, you know, but, that was the main reason that was put in the way it was put in.
Boy, that could be a chunk of change if you add up everything.
it could be,
Underground.
Yeah.
it could be,
Belanger Drive's a good example, that's all underground cable down there,
yeah.
and, that was about the vintage that came in.
So all this does is, it puts the burden on my office to figure all this piping. You know, if we wanted to include something like that, then we'll just up the lot price from $250 to $300 and do away with this extra.
But then the poor guy up in the woods that ain't gonna run any power or any pipe is gonna pay for the guy that's
Yep.
putting the pipe in.
Yep.
So, you got a fine line there.
You do.
To inspect the underground utilities.
It also discourages underground utilities
Yeah.
too.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Mhm. That's valid too.
Maybe you put an inspection fee for underground facilities. But, you're right, that discourages it, but
Yeah, which is something we want, if we
I
can get
would
it.
think that we would, right?
No telephone.
Anyway, I guess we can ferret that out.
Yep.
From a logistics standpoint, we have public hearing next meeting
For
for
the
the,
ordinance.
for the ordinance.
Is that next meeting?
27th, right?
27.
So if we approve the changes, we then have to come back and approve the schedule, right? Because approving the changes takes the schedule out of the ordinance or attaches it to the ordinance instead of embedded in the ordinance.
Correct.
So then we would have to approve this, so we would have to do that afterward, right? So does that propose a problem in the interim if we approve the ordinance and we don't approve the fees at the same time?
I think they kind of go together.
Just use the existing ones
Yeah, I don't think that'd
as
be.
they are.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, but we just need to make sure that when we vote on this, that we
Take
make
another
sure that
vote on
because they're pulling, because the changes to the ordinance pulls this fee structure out, just need to make sure that when we vote, we don't leave a
Yep,
void
Gray
here that
area.
says, oh, we got a new ordinance, but we'll
Yeah.
get no fees,
yep,
right?
gotcha.
So,
But we can have this ready for a vote that same evening.
yeah, that's fine.
We can. I mean, I can draft up what the new fee schedule would actually look like, so you guys can.
Yeah, it'd be
do
nice
that.
to, is there a planning board meeting in between? Not that we need a vote from them, but they ought to at least pass over
I can do that.
the look of it.
Yep.
See, they're meeting
We canceled last week, right?
21st.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yep,
Okay.
I can have them review that. Sign permit goes from 25 to 60. Demolition goes from 25 to 50. Main State plumbing fees remain the same, other than the fact that we might add something to an oversized commercial system.
So this is where the Moses situation, you could have another
Another line,
line in here
Yep.
if you needed to inspect a
Right,
larger
and
Yep.
you have a rate
have a rate.
for, that can be applied by.
size. Of-
Whatever.
Yep.
But Glenn, going back up to the lineal feet of pipe that we were talking about with Dwayne there.
Yes.
What's the flavor of the board here? Because I can see that can create several minutes or maybe an hour or two of work for code officer, just looking at, grabbing the scale and adding up all the pipe. Do we want to eliminate that or keep that in? I wasn't clear on what you folks would want to do.
Well, Dwayne brings up a good point, is the guy that, if you increase the application fee, or the fee, to offset this little thing here, right? Then the guy that doesn't have any of this is gonna subsidize the guy that does.
Well, everybody's going to have a road, so.
Well, I understand that. And so maybe this stays in, maybe
Well, if you're gonna leave it in, then I would pull out the 50 cents per lineal feet of pipe and just leave it chargier for the road.
Amen.
You know, if that's what you wanna do, that's a good compromise, I think.
That's easy.
Yep, that's easy. And that can be calculated right from the subdivision plan. You know, the pipes, on the other hand, are a little harder to calculate because you don't know actually what the developer's gonna use.
Okay.
So we'll eliminate the 50, the pipe charge and leave the road charge. Okay.
These fees that the state say that we have to charge,
The only fee that the state has their hands into are plumbing and septic.
I thought there was a while back, we were looking at something where we said we have to charge the fee for that. Since
We have to charge their fee as a minimum, right?
Has a minimum.
But we can add to it if we
Yeah.
saw fit.
That's correct.
Well,
A bed size of over 1,000 square feet or 750 square feet or something like that.
Well, what affected the campground is they're putting 96 chambers
Yeah.
per system. That's huge.
An average bed has probably got 20 chambers at the most.
Yep, at the most.
So, somewhere in there, anything over 25 or 30 chambers.
Yep.
Is so much a chamber.
That's a good, easy
Or
formula.
square footage. I was just figuring a 40 by 100 bed is more than average for a
Yep.
4-bedroom home, so that's 400 square feet, 500 square
Yeah.
feet.
I can't imagine we would ever come to a residential system that we would have to tack this charge to.
Right.
It's going to be a commercial system. And most of those systems are H20 concrete units.
So it would either say chambers or square footage.
Yep. Okay, that's easy.
Do any of the state fees go back to the state?
Oh, sure.
yeah, that was the question.
You get that
I had.
cut?
That would explain it.
Yeah, they get 25%.
Right.
So when we bill out a septic system, we charge them $250 plus $15 that goes to DEP automatically. And out of that $250, the state keeps 25%. And Tammy, we do that monthly,
They're worth every penny of it.
every
So
penny.
you get 50 plus.
So am I clear on that now? We're pulling up the pipe fee?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll
All right, so
redo.
you're gonna spiffy this up and we'll bring this into the public hearing as well.
Okay.
Or as part of the public hearing.
All right, and I'll get this to the planning board by their next meeting.
I think it's a great idea, as you mentioned earlier when we started talking about the building codes, to have a couple of forums where, you might bring in a bunch of folks that and go through, hey, this is what I see, and these are the problems, and whatnot. So, because I think that, there's still a lot of people that go, well, I didn't know that I needed that.
I hear it every day.
So
Yeah, every day.
I think
Nobody told
anything
me.
that we can add would be great.
My office has always had the outreach attitude, and that's what I want to have here, obviously.
Okay.
That's
All right, sir.
It's a lot of work, thank you. Thanks for you and Tammy.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, 6-month budget review.
Probably best to grab your paper packets here and not get on the computer. Tammy, you probably don't have one of these.
My knees don't work as good as they used to. I do, thank you. Oh, boy.
Julie, you have yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay, bottom line is, we're in good shape. We've got 52% of the fiscal year behind us as of January 5th. We spent 51% of the expense side, collected 59% of our revenue budget. So unless you want differently, we'll go right down through. I've highlighted the sections that are up, down, et cetera. And want me to do that, Dennis?
Just, unless it's, I don't think you gotta do something that's like $8 over, but,
Travel line in general government is way down because, just bringing this up, in my contract, I pay for mileage and tolls out of that. Pete Cody's mileage mostly comes out of municipal buildings. When he eats all of that, it comes back into this line. And you just stop me when you have a question, please. Other than that, I'm gonna roll right along. Tax billing and auditor, those next two lines, obviously that's a once-a-year endeavor, so it would be skewed. Advertising, a little different in there. We've had a lot of different activities for advertising. Librarian, Public Works number 3 position that we recently hired Jason Champion for, the rec director. Remember the Ossipee Lake Dam Control petition? Seems like it was years ago, but it wasn't. Marijuana ordinance change, community center steering committee, West Road sidewalk snow removal, and boards and committees vacancy list. So a wide variety of things in there that has that almost up to being overspent. Leases, the next section down on page 1, section 13. Obviously, those are done primarily once a year, so they would be high earlier in the year. Under insurance, vacation, sick time, accrued time. This is bumped over because Jean Rundgren retired. We bought the 30 days of sick time from her. And I don't know if she had any vacation time that we owed her for. Didn't think so, but this is just about done. Remember, most of this is for people who, per our personnel policy, can sell a portion of their vacation time back to the town and take the money instead of the time off. I'm done with page 1, moving over to page 2, down to IT in the bottom of page 2. Dave Lowe gets the approval at town meeting to buy a piece of equipment or some software. Obviously, he would do that in the first quarter, and that's why these are higher than 50%. Those 2 categories there. Municipal buildings in page 3. The big oops here, well, I shouldn't say oops, the big surprise was the generator radiator failure out here for the October windstorm. That was $4,600. We paid another $6 to Tody Wolfinger to fix that radiator, to recore it so it's better than brand new. And we can have that either for here or for the fire station generator, which I think was money well spent.
Make sure the caps are put on it and sealed so the mice don't get in it.
There you go.
That does not work well when you store them in an open building.
Yep.
They love making nests in them,
There is a cap on it.
but the
It's
bottom,
over the fire
the
station.
bottom and the top need to be sealed off tight.
Yep.
Seen it many days.
And we did some work this year to get the old section of Town Hall here with, so it has water and some lights in case we lose power when Fundergy or kids are here, the building's in use. We did that. We did some of the recent, we took the fencing that was out back, we sliced HA stone, cut some of that in half and reused it. But we spent $2,300 there. And then, Julie, for the water heater, did we get a rebate back for that water heater that we put out here?
I don't believe so, but
Okay.
don't quote me.
Anyway, I've been wanting to turn the boiler off in the summer here for years, and now we're going to be able to do that. We have a heat pump hot water heater that's in the boiler room here, been here for a few months. Uses the heat in the building to make hot water, and that boiler's going to get shut off when it gets warm. And we're going to save some oil. So this line is over. Well, David Benton and I know that the municipal buildings money has to be drastically curtailed for the next 6 months, and we will do our best and only use monies out of there if something breaks. And down at the bottom of page 3 on the code enforcement legal, what we've been doing is when legal monies have been spent out of this line, we've been bringing those fines back in. Julie and I have been talking about this, and maybe we need to make a big transfer of all revenues, no matter what kind, or over in the revenue budget. Might be a little cleaner, but this line is actually a negative expense, so it actually has $5,500 available doing it the way we did, even though obviously the citizens approved $4,000 in this regard. These are fines, these are not building permit fees. We'll talk about building permit fees when we get to the revenue side. Remember, we spent $5,000 on one customer here a year or so ago. Ticket sales, the bottom of page 4 in recreation. We've got to do some changes here because of the good things that are happening with recreation here. Initially, this was going to be for Funtown tickets. We're going to go buy 30 or 32 Funtown tickets. This was going to be the ticket sales, $22.50, and if you popped over to the same ticket sales in the revenue line, it was going to be the same money. Well, lo and behold, Todd came on board and Lisa, and we started working with our neighbors and going to Red Sox and Coastal Botanical Gardens and all these other wonderful trips. And paying for the buses some of the time the other towns pay for it. And then we realize some of the revenues over in the revenue side. So this needs to change. Julie's gonna have to make some transfers out of this. And when you see this again, this is not gonna be so out of skew. But when we get to the revenue budget, you see some of this revenue over budgeted there, which is a good thing. Page 6 is next, which would be public safety. As you know, we bought the 4-passenger ATV, also called the UPV, I guess, right around $16,000, a little under that, completely from donated funds. And we put in the budget to buy the tracks for that. We'd like to get rid of the old snowmobile, and we can have one vehicle that could either be on wheels for the spring through fall, and then on tracks for the summertime for a wilderness rescue. And we do not have to have 2 different vehicles for that type of thing.
The tracks for the wintertime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's about $6,000, and we don't have enough donation money yet, so some of that is in the budget. And FYI, to folks back home more so than you, Ross Corner Fire Company at the bottom of page 6, we split their budget 3 ways between Shapley and Alfred. And over on the transfer station on page 7, you can see an indication for building activity. If you go down to the shingles and the CPRC shingles and CPRC hauling that's highlighted on your sheets there. The sheetrock is no longer in this section. The sheetrock does not get recycled like it used to. But, excuse me, here we are half year, and we've already spent the budget for the per ton price and the hauling.
Yeah, but you've also had that as a revenue come in too.
Right, you'll see that
Right.
in the revenue side. Going over on to page 8, general assistance. I'm pleased to report that of these 9 categories highlighted there in pink, they've all pretty much gone down, largely because some clients moved out of town and others have, some of them have actually obtained employment, so they don't need services anymore, which is a very good thing. And on the last page of the expense report, York County taxes are obviously paid once a year, and our cable TV access also, down in the middle of page 9, is paid once a year. Moving on to revenues.
Back up, would it be safe to say in the general assistance that some of those have dropped because of maybe more management foresight in there? We're keeping a closer eye on that, the scrutiny is a little more, or?
No, I don't think so. She's been doing the same job, and she really pays attention to what their assets are. She makes them bring in bank statements, and has for quite some time. So I think this is really, when 1 or 2 households moves out of town, it can make a big difference if they're very needy in terms of rent.
Okay.
I mean, we budget $40,000 for rent. That's not a small amount of money, and we've spent a little over 10.
Okay. Curious.
Moving over to the revenue budget. General government. I've been increasing the excise and the rapid renewals there just about down the middle of the page every year since I've been here. And Dennis and I have good philosophical conversations of how much to increase that. And it's always a challenge to try and do it right to the T. But this year we budgeted $1.25 million for both. We've collected $709,000 for both so far, so we're on track anyway for $1.4 million. Again, if that happens, it will be a nice problem to have. Homestead reimbursement, an inch or so down below that. At the time we created this budget in December of 2016, we didn't know what the state was going to do and bump up the homestead reimbursement, so this figure will need to be adjusted and increased, because the state program is...
Well, they shorted us last year, so some of that probably is the makeup from...
They shorted us last year?
Well, if you look at last year's end of the year, the homestead still owed us money.
That was a timing thing, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been a timing thing, but
they still owed
it's
us.
my argument with the auditor is we accrue expenses that happen in July that are previous years, but we never accrue the revenue that comes in that should have come in from previous years. So. and I know it's all washes out in the end, but I mean,
And down the code enforcement toward the bottom quarter of the page here, those three sections highlighted in green,
it's way up.
way up with the busyness of the, and here we are in the middle of the winter too. We haven't even yet the start of the building season, so we're gonna have, Glenn and I are gonna have to adjust those for next year's revenue budget, assuming that everything's going to stay the same. Over on page 2, transfer station, the bottom third of that page, the metal recycling line 4238, we do that once every year or two, so that's kind of skewed. Recycling, I'm guessing, some of that is baled product revenue coming back from ecomaine. The non-recyclables, line 4265, just a busier transfer station, people discarding more things.
Just so you, I have a meeting on Thursday at ecomaine, but I think I sent out everybody one of the copies, but the revenue stream for recyclables has taken a significant dive because China is saying they're not going to send us all that crap anymore.
Yeah.
So
That's going to affect that recycling line.
that will have some impact on that.
And most of those things under the non-recyclables, appliances, brush, plumbing fixtures, concrete, bricks, demolition wood, the usual suspects in that regard, but just more of them. And I keep hearing that from Clint, we're just busier in this economy. And the very bottom of page 2, Europe is the one-time payment from DOT on road assistance, road construction assistance. And on page 3, you see how I computed, we're at 59%. I pulled out all the property taxes and computed the fraction there without property taxes at all. That's how I come to that 59% non-property tax collected revenues. Any questions?
Okay. All right, let's go to discussion regarding 2017 town report dedication. I think we have everything squared away. I guess we need to just start to pull together information that we want in the write-up. Where do we stand, other than, you don't have my report, but where do we stand with all the reports? I mean, are we ready, how soon could we go to print?
She's looking at 2 people right now who have to do them.
You and me?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm done, if I have you signed tomorrow,
Well, I've got pretty much everything almost ready to go, except the dedication
yeah.
and the picture. I need a picture. And I need your reports.
Okay. So we'll get you that stuff.
Mine's the 3rd written, so maybe I'm ahead of you.
Yeah, mine we're just gonna take last year's and change the date.
That's fine. But I have almost everything on this week.
No,
She kind of wanted it all together, not.
So
bits and pieces.
I'll get my stuff done this week, and we will need, a picture and whatnot from the family. So we'll go from there, and hopefully we can get this thing out and printed. We certainly don't have to wait for a warrant or anything else. We can put the town report out anytime.
If you see Parks and Rec,
Todd?
Lisa, see if she's got something from Horseshoe Tournament. She may have something still on her camera. I was thinking of that today, but I'm still looking. Because you need something that's on a camera and not a
Like,
picture,
it's a JPEG.
so, yeah, so.
Right, yeah.
But Lisa may have something, because I'm quite sure she took all kinds of pictures, and that would be,
Yeah,
As good as
that would
any.
be good quality pictures,
Yeah.
right? Okay? All
I
right.
started to walk over tonight and I never got there, so.
we have moved up the discussion, possible vote regarding the Malone property purchase and sales agreement. So we do have,
If there's no questions, I'll make a motion on that. That we sign the sales.
are we all set with, well, let me ask the question, is there any questions before we have a motion on the floor? Okay, I take the motion.
I will make a motion that the Board of Selectmen sign the sales agreement with the Malone, what's his first name?
John.
John Malone on the piece of property in East Waterboro.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, sensing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
4-0.
I would like to just explain to the people that's watching TV, the town of Waterboro has a sales agreement with a piece of property across from Subway and SIS, which abuts the town transfer station, Public Works. It's a piece of property that the water district we've agreed to let them put a tower on our Public Works land that we have on the Bennett Hill Road. This is a better piece of property. It's also going to save the water district probably somewhere between $500,000 and $750,000 just in the pipe that needs to be laid up the Bennett Hill Road. So it's, in my mind, a no-brainer. It's 38 acres or so. It will give us another road to the Public Works. It will give the water district a place to put a tower, which is actually higher than the piece of property that the town now owns. So they're not going to have to spend quite so much money on a tank or a tower. So if anybody's got any questions, don't hesitate to ask any of us or come see Gary, but this will be for the townspeople to vote on too.
Yeah, on this property, it could be a large cement tank that isn't
Yeah.
100 feet tall and metal.
There's so much advantage for the town and the water district on this piece of property that, in my mind, it's just a no-brainer.
It improves the firefighting in that area too.
And the town could sell some of it afterwards, or we could lease it out. We'll own the property so we can do with it what we want, but there'll be public water on the property, makes it even more valuable.
We have a post office that's looking for a place. It could be a possible place for the post office. There's too many possibles on this piece of land to not acquire it.
That all being said, when do we want to vote?
We need to set a special town meeting. A special town meeting has to be secret ballot at this point,
Right.
and as soon as possible, which we gotta have a month, so,
It only needs to be 4 hours in duration.
yep. I would recommend 6 or 8, just so that everybody that's working, if it's on a Tuesday, if we're gonna hold it on a Saturday, that's fine, but,
What is your preference? A Saturday or a Tuesday?
I think a Tuesday, because the help is already here. We don't need to spend the taxpayers' money. The girls are gonna be
Any
here, extra money, and I would think a Tuesday, but this also means that anybody wishing to vote on this, and it will be just this article, they can vote absentee. So once we set the date here tonight, and the ballot's been printed, then they can come in.
So what is your preference? I mean, we need a month, right?
A little more than that, we need to create the ballots, which we'll do in-house, that's not a big deal.
So the question is that if you did on a Tuesday, I mean, the 27th of March would be our normal meeting night, but we can forego that. That's not
I would recommend sliding this stuff over and holding the vote right here in the building so that we haven't got to rent the school or move stuff over. Because we, 6, 8 ballot
But she has to, I think she said last week, how many does she have to put?
Just have a minimum, but she's
Right.
spec'd out things, and the
Right.
tables and the chairs can go away.
Yeah.
We can fit it in here.
So is that amenable to everybody? If we did the 27th, that's 6 weeks from now. That gives us time to get, so it's gonna be a simple ballot. But we're gonna have to have, and I would suggest that we probably reserve sometime on the 13th as a public awareness meeting, and we could all follow that up with another one on the 20th, or we could do the 6th, so that we just keep it out in front of everybody of what's gonna be done.
We'll have handouts in the front lobby for everybody coming and going.
So is everybody okay with the 27th?
As long as that's soon enough, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we
So
got
Dave,
until
put our
what,
timetable
April
to move
15th?
back.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it does. It would fit timetable as far as everything.
In the purchase and sale, I did agree with him, and I think alerted you folks that April 15th would be the latest for the closing. But if the voters approve it, we're ready to close a day or two after, so we can write the check.
And if they don't, it's a moot point.
That's right.
Which I guess begs the question that they're gonna have is, how's this gonna be paid for?
Well, it's gonna come out of unappropriated surplus,
Right.
or we have to bond it, and
I never intended to promote anything to the voters in the question other than from the fund balance. So there'll be no impact to the tax rate.
Okay,
Directly.
that's what I wanted to get across for our viewing audience. This is no impact to the tax rate.
I mean, it's taxpayer money. We have a fund balance that's north of $2 million that's very healthy, and now and then you should use it. And I think this is a perfectly logical reason to use that and pay cash and write a check for this property.
this would take 10% of that.
Yep.
And this was suggested in the comprehensive plan and has been considered for years now. The price was just too high.
So let me ask the question again. The 27th is probably the soonest that we could do it. The 3rd of April would be certainly acceptable as well.
Yeah, if you wanted a Saturday, you could go March 24.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
think
recommend
Tuesday, I think
Saturday.
Tuesday might, especially if we're gonna do it here, let's do it on a Tuesday.
We're here, so.
Right.
Now, how about hours? Do you want to be 11 to 7? Because that's a Tuesday hours. We can.
Okay with me, that's.
We'll be here, but we don't have to.
we gotta have a moderator.
Seven.
and, to open the,
That's 8 hours, right? 8 hours.
Yep.
And that gives anybody that's coming from work
yeah.
the
Everybody a
opportunity
chance
to
to
come in here,
vote.
so.
And anybody working second shift would have time to get here.
Right.
Okay, usual hours.
So 11 to 7, polls would be open.
Would we be better off to go 9 to 7? Just so that a lot of these guys, if they're working second shift, might be leaving, but I don't know.
You'd have to have another set of people here on the table. Right now, it's Judy and Jim,
Yeah.
one R and one D, and they could do it. I mean,
Yeah,
we'll
depends
find
on
the
how
staff,
many-
if you guys want to do it longer, we can find the staff.
So is the preference the 27th or the 3rd?
27th, I mean, sooner the better.
7th, yeah, the sooner the better.
Yes?
Okay.
27?
I have no problem.
So why don't we make an official vote? I
We
entertain
gotta
a
do it
motion.
9 to 7 or 11 to 7.
Well, somebody make a motion and include in there the hours that we're going to be open.
I'll make the motion that we hold the special election on the 27th, and the hours shall be the standard operating hours of the town hall, 11 to 7. That way we don't incur any, additional overtime costs associated with this, that it can all be.
Other than counting after.
Yeah, other than the counting of the ballots, yeah.
Second.
And that's March 27th.
Right.
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
0. Great, thank you.
In the words of Willis Log, let her rip.
Okay, you've got a copy of this, Reasons for Malone Property Acquisition. Why don't you go over it again at your own time and get back to me? I filled in some blanks from Benton and the fire chief, and some other blanks that you just filled in because of what you just did. So I will do this and send it back out to you.
Tammy,
How much? What's the purchase?
285.
275.
275.
75,
Come down from what?
30,
475 at one time.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was the last time he was in
It
here.
was 375, I think, when we passed on the
Thank you.
Okay?
The water line is gonna be about half the cost of going up to Bentonville Road.
Okay, so,
You got the packet.
other.
Yeah.
Discuss and vote to approve the minutes of January 23rd, regular meeting.
So moved.
I was not here.
Tim, need a second.
A second.
And moved in a second. All those in favor, understanding that Selectman Woodson was not here that night. All those in favor? Opposed, and one abstention.
801.
Pending decisions, we got the comprehensive plan thing going on. Week's action list, I think we're all set there. You're gonna be busy putting this thing together, plus Gary and I have to get our reports to Sherry. Yes.
Pending decisions, we were gonna potentially talk about budget workshop dates. In my mind, we could have a budget workshop any and all of every Tuesday from February 27 to March 27. So, but 3 of those 5 are regular meetings. The 6th and the 20th of March are separate days. The budget committee.
So you think they're gonna be done this week?
Possibly. There's quite a bit left to do, and they're getting hung up on cell phones and other things and salary, so, the 22nd.
Which really isn't their business, but.
Yeah, I'm trying to deflect them over into just doing the dollars and staying out in the office.
So next week is 20th is vacation week, right? For
22nd they'll be done, if not this Thursday, yeah. They did well the last 2 meetings to move right along. I'll give them credit, despite all these other deflections.
So I'm, actually, if you want to do it on a off night, we can start on an off night.
Well, how about we have a budget update the 27th, which I would give you anyway, and we'll just go from there.
And why don't we, because unless somebody's got a whole lot to add to that 27th of February meeting night, we do have a public hearing, correct?
Yes. For the
I
ordinance.
mean, we could take half an hour at the end of the meeting to do just a quick overview of everything that the budget committee has approved, right?
Yep.
And that would kind of launch us into what we're gonna do from that point on.
Okay.
Do you want to bring up the, added this, do you want to bring up the TIF thing,
Yes.
that meeting?
Hey, where'd it go?
Do we have to have a public hearing on the TIF thing?
Yes, we do.
So that would be to establish the,
This is the TIF application, which is ready for you folks. We didn't have a full complement, and we only had 2 members there. They informally consensus to that. This is ready for your consideration, so take this home and look it over. And in my mind, we put this on the agenda for 2 weeks from tonight.
yeah.
And you want to take just a couple minutes and walk through this very quickly?
Has it changed, I mean, other than we added,
No, you just haven't seen it yet. I was going to just point out a couple things. That's all.
okay, go.
Flip to page 5. This is a double-sided gear. Starts at the top, statutory requirements and thresholds. Top line there, you'll see on page 5, total municipal acreage, we have 36,500 and change acres in town. The next line, number 2, acreage of the TIF district is 381 acres. You'll, about 4 lines below that, you'll see that is 1.04% of the town's acreage. We have a 5% limit of the town's acreage total and a 2% limit of the acreage in any one TIF. So we can have another 360 or 70 acres in an expanded TIF area down the line. So we were pretty conservative here. And we'll talk about the map in just a minute. Go over to the next page, the top of page 6. The valuation of this TIF district is $21,168,500.
Today.
Yes, that's correct, today. And Tammy, I've got one of these you can have, take with you. This is what goes in the application in terms of the worth of that. And then the most important thing for you folks is to spend time in pages 7 through 11, because we have to very specifically tell the state what we're going to spend these TIF monies on. Remember, we're capturing the tax revenue and the new growth in here, which will allow us to not have our school funding go down because of new growth, which will not increase our county taxes and which will prevent our revenue sharing from going down, just by sheltering this tax revenue. We get the same tax revenue unless we have a credit enhancement agreement or a big somebody that wants to come here and we give them some of them back, but we don't have to do that. So if you go, keep going until you hit the map. Another 4 or 5 pages there.
Yep.
You there, Gordon?
Yeah, I'm on the map.
Okay. We put some labels on here. You can see where Hannaford's is, the main corner up there, Southern Maine Healthcare. It goes up to the northwest, up as far as the power lines by the diner, and it goes down to the south and east to Jellison Road, which isn't labeled, but that's where it stops there. And then we come all the way down to South Waterboro and we grab 2 parcels down there. The northerly one is Plumbers, and the other one is where that new development is coming in right there. So we captured the value there. We purposely did not connect them. We don't have to. And we did that because you don't want to waste all that road of Route 202 in area for the TIF if you don't have to. So it's kind of handy that you can be in the same TIF district but not connected. And on the very next page...
I guess there's one question there, Gary.
Yep.
That Foglio piece, it's kind of been in and out of the planning board.
Just south of the old Alfred Road there.
Yeah. The question is why we didn't put that in there, because it's all commercial earmarked,
Yep.
and it would be the same as the hardware store and that development.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. I'm going to have to talk to Lee J on
There's
that.
about less than 1,000 feet deep on that whole parcel, but it's all road frontage off 202.
Let me find out.
In around How and How.
Yeah.
Both sides of How and How right there.
Well, there's one out sale there now with the dance studio is.
Right. But that's the start of that commercial.
Right.
All right. Let me find that out.
It's got another entrance towards the Dayfield, and then
Yeah.
there's one on the other side of How
Other
and
side
How.
of How and How.
So,
Yep.
I think there was just over 100 acres there total, but
Okay.
Okay?
Anything else on the map?
No.
Nothing's not good, but on the document itself, on the back page, the signature page, should be a correction there that I'm no longer the vice chair, it's Neil.
Oh, yep. Thank you. And then the only other thing, look on that table right after the map. And this is where the rubber hits the road here. These are all the numbers. This is a 30-year TIF. And pretty conservative. The valuation starts out at 21 million and change. And at the end of 30 years, we'd go to 29 million, which is a pretty conservative build-out. Could realize $1.7 million in the bottom, the third line up in bold there, $1.685 million in tax revenue that's set aside in this TIF district. And you folks are going to have to determine what we can spend that money on, what we cannot. So that's the pages 7 to 11 where we have to be pretty on our game and thinking forward about, you know, sidewalks, infrastructure, water, whatever the case may be. We cannot build a police station or town hall with it, but you can build other things.
Fire, water,
If it's development related, it's pretty flexible. There are very few things that you cannot use it on. But anyway,
but we've got to come up with funding to match what we take in.
I think you can use this one-to-one, I think. Anyway, go over the uses. That's where Chuck and I need your input as to what you want to spend this money on.
Okay.
And I will have him here, if it's okay with you, I will have him here on the 27th and we'll have a little more in-depth discussion.
Okay.
Will you have the public hearing on the 27th as well?
I don't think we'd be ready. No. Would you disagree
We
with
have a public hearing
We have a public
scheduled,
hearing.
right, for the 27th on the planning board, on the zoning.
that? Yeah. Let's not have this one that right. There's no rush to this. We have months of time, so.
Okay.
Let's see, where
With
are
all that, don't forget of what has to be signed, but with all of that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Good night, Irene. Somebody's